Alright, so today we're doing the second devlog for Spider Gunman with new updates over a couple things, mainly some new mechanics. Before we get into the new stuff though, I did fix something. I noticed that sometimes this will get an occasional bit of lag when switching weapons. I had this set at hidden in game, and I changed it to set visibility, which I think, and it seems to fix it, although it happened like exactly one time. It's happening at least a lot less. Maybe that was unrelated. I think this is less performance intensive because this only deals with rendering, and I think hidden in game deals with collision as well. And the guns don't have collision anyway, so this should be fine. Let's start off with melee. Pretty simple here. Make sure we're not reloading, can't do that. First we play the wind sound. Regardless of if we hit something, we play the animation. And this, I actually forgot to do that in the very first version. It's a very stupid mistake. I'm searching for enemies and I forgot to clear it first. So if I hit an enemy, I could just infinitely hit them no matter where I was. So I had to fix that. And we do a trace. We add in enemies to melee. We launch ourselves toward them. It's mainly for game feel, it's not necessary. And then we interface to the enemy. Enemy hit by melee. They can't be hit multiple times. So you don't get hit by the velocity ram and the melee at the same time. That was happening. So I had that variable. We take damage, change health bar, punch. When it's saved, we launch the character, and this part here, we're only just like launching them up a bit, but the overrides help to stop their momentum, which is what this is really for. Otherwise they don't go flying backward as well. Now this actually sends them backwards, and then if they die, they go into a death state. This is their ragdoll. I'm going to show you guys the melee. Pretty simple. Spear there, not much to that. With the velocity ramming, the character's moving fast, it causes the enemies to get meleeed. This does stuff when the character's moving fast. Now it looks like it's way too big, but actually it really needs to be this big. Otherwise it was kind of finicky. Especially for the feet, when you're trying to swing kick at someone. Melee box, overlap, if it's the enemy, if we have a certain velocity, we hit the melee, less damage. So the melee is not much use if the enemies won't die when they hit the ground, when they fall off the building. So we have this take and fall damage thing. For the ones standing on poles, I have them at 0 move speed, and so I'm undoing that if they fall. Take a little bit of fall damage. If they die, they die. Or take death fall damage. Spawns the blood. Yeah, it does their normal death stuff. We have 2 colliders. Player, Spider Gunman strong. You won't automatically get sucked or blown away, but he still gets shot to the fan. So this box is for the player. This box is for the enemies. So the player goes in and just play the sound effect and stuff, and they die. Insta kill. It's pretty straightforward. The enemy goes in, they get hit by a fan. I'll show you that in a second. Spawn the blood particle again. This is important later. I had this interface event that I'm using to get the location of components, which I can't seem to find an easier way to do. Pretty simple, getting launched into the fan. Launch vector is applied to the ragdoll state, which is what I have set up already with the bullets. Next we have the barrel. Pretty simple. Hits by bullet, does its thing. This is what way other things use it. Spawns its fire effect. Does a search. Hits by explosion and does the hit by explosion interface. Destroys itself. This is when it's hit by the grapple point. We'll get to that later. Hit by melee, pretty simple. But this is how we use when it's hit by the grapple point or velocity is at a certain point. We do start check for bad guys. And this sets off our check for enemies to explode on them. I tried using like just this and it was just so finicky. I tried using just the spear collider and it was just not having it. So that's why we resorted to this loop for checking. That's giving it C components so the grapple and stuff can interact with it. Down here. So let's take a look at this. Okay. Already low damage, so it's fine. Pretty basic spear there. It needs to be much bigger. I find a lot of these collisions need to be bigger than you think they would be. Now let's show the physics version. This doesn't always hit because it's cylindrical. Okay. But the cylinder wobbles a lot, that's really annoying. I'm sort of learning why they don't do physics as much in games anymore. But you saw it checking to see if somebody was there, and if it had enough momentum, it would have exploded. But now I can show you the grapple version. Same thing, just does the explosion as well. So the physics ball pretty much works exactly the same, except it doesn't explode. And instead activates hit by melee on the enemies. But I'm going to show you the physics constraint. It's a physics constraint, does the wobbles. Now see, this isn't actually the ball that drops. I destroy that when the red things hit, play the sound, and then we spawn the physics ball, destroy the component. Now the grapple gadget does what I have it on the normal bullet stuff, instead doesn't have attack for damage. Pretty simple twit. This is just a big spear tray, it's not too interesting. So first we do a big trace for the enemies. If there's no enemies, then we just do the ant sound to the red light. You didn't get nothing. Originally I just was doing this as a default for when we find no hazards, or barrels or whatever. Barrels and the ball are kind of the same thing here. Originally this was I just had them launch toward the point just to have them do something. We found an enemy but no hazard. But I actually find that pretty fun mechanic to put it at a wall and launch them off. Back to the thing. Search if we have enemies. We check if we have hazards. That's prioritized first. Add hazards. Check for enemies. I use a lot of as valves. Gotta be careful. Launch toward the things of the enemy. We add move cable, which for some reason I had to do every time because it wouldn't take in some variable. I forgot exactly what happened there. And move cable is just changing where the cable's ends are pointing, which is at what's being pulled in the enemy. And then we stop the cable moving. We got to get component locations and stuff. We don't have a hazard, we check for barrels. which barrels includes the balls. We pretty much do the same thing here, and as I said, I use that more than once. The grapple visuals work exactly the same as in the player. I forgot what this is. Anyway, alright, on to shortcomings. The main thing I feel I failed on was that I wanted to do this like 360 flip thing. If you're in the air, you can just look any direction and Gunman will be looking there. And then you can shoot them. You can like do a flip over a character and shoot them. It'll look really cool. But I had a lot of problems with it. And I had to just give up. Firstly, I think the biggest... Didn't work. Oh yeah, no. I'd add the constraint of where you're moving and doing it. No? Oh, there we go. It's easier to see up here. Oh! Anyway. See how it's kinda doing it. Not very well. And I'll just flip back again, not moving. Looks really silly. Anyway. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Anyway. The main problem was that, well, I had two main problems. The biggest problem was that it seems that in the third-person controller for that Unreal has set up, is that you can't look past going up or past going down. And and that's a real problem if you want to do a flip. That was the main problem. Second problem was I couldn't quite get this to mesh to turn on an even radius. Just stick to the camera. But I think I could have figured that out eventually. I mean, let's turn that off. So, and I could find almost nothing about how to do a mechanic like that online and Unreal. So if anybody out there has an idea on how to do such a thing, please tell me. The last thing was two really minor things that I found while recording gameplay. One of them's pretty minor, and I can probably fix. The other one seems like it probably unlikely to happen more than once. Well, I'll go ahead and show you guys. And about here. Yeah, it looks like the yellow guy got... And that's the other glitch. Firstly, what happened was it looked like the yellow guy, who's the tank enemy, sorta, got... I think what happened is those guys move slower, and I think the other guys bullied him when trying to walk past him and like sent him flying. The second thing I'm pretty sure was pretty simple was I think that I hit both sides of the fan and the sound played twice. So that's not good, but that's pretty simple. I've done that sort of sound canceling thing. So anyway, that's about it. Looks like he went through the wall as well. You know, if he was moving that fast. Anyway. So that's about it. Thank you for watching. Please check out Spider Gunman if you haven't already, or any other of my games. Just search the channel for them, you'll see them. That's it. Thank you to anyone who likes, comments, or subscribes.